Hi, I'm Christine Cushing, and welcome to another helping of my favorite foods. Today I want to get a little nostalgic with a sweet, icy treat that'll bring out the kid in all of us. Get ready for ice cream sandwiches from scratch. So first step is the cookie, okay? What I want to do with the cookie is, you can make this all in a mixer actually. You don't need a stand mixer like this, but I like using my stand mixer with the paddle attachment. I'm going to mix in always unsalted butter. So super easy. I'm doing a combination here of white and brown sugar, and I'm going to explain why. So I've got my sieve here, and I'm going to sift all-purpose flour and cocoa. I also want to make sure I just give that a stir to make sure that they're blended together. I'm going to put my salt in there. I always put the salt in after because generally it doesn't go through the sieve when it's fine. This is about a half a teaspoon. This is looking good. I'm going to scrape it down a couple of times before I add my vanilla. So the secret to making a great ice cream sandwich is all in that cookie. It can't be too crispy, it can't fall apart, it's got to hold together, it can't expand too much. So this is in essence going to be like a fudgy shortbread. There's not going to be any leavener, so there's no baking powder or baking soda for it to expand and then contract. And there also aren't going to be any egg whites. So that's my cue to separate 2 eggs. 2 eggs. How do you love these little green eggs? Look how cool those are. These are super fresh. How do I know that? Look at how that yolk stays firm and in place and it's not falling apart. Egg yolks are gonna go into my creamed butter and sugar mixture. Next thing to go in is the dry ingredients. And I want to make sure I turn it off so I'm not wearing the cocoa, which I've done that many times. So you see my parchment paper? Makes it so much easier to now add it to the mixture. And here's the key, right? If I get this and crank it and start working quickly, it's gonna develop too much gluten and the cookie's gonna be tough, and then you're gonna bite into it, break a tooth. It's not gonna be good, but this is gonna be good. Scrape down the sides. See how there's just looks like there's a little bit of butter there? I'm gonna work that by hand, not to worry. That doesn't look like it's gonna really turn into anything. But wait, hang on a second. It's the beauty of baking. There's magic. So all I'm gonna do now is work it with my hands just until it forms a nice pliable ball. I just wanna knead it for a couple of seconds before I put it on the parchment, just to show you. And all I wanna do here is really, when I say knead it, I just wanna bring it into sort of like a log shape like this. And then you'll see as you work it a little bit, the fat from the cocoa and the butter is going to really make it very forgiving. Look at that. So see, it looks like it's sticky, but then it's totally great. I'm not going to flour this at all. So again, it looks like it's not going to come together, but it does. And what you want to ensure here is that it's not too thick. So I calculated, I've made this about 5 or 6 times now just to get it just right. You want a thickness of, okay, let me show you this. This is probably, let's say that's 3-4 millimeters. So now, here comes my shape on top. I'm gonna roll this exactly to this dimension. So I'm gonna make here 6 ice cream sandwiches. This shape here, I'm gonna cut it out and explain as I go. I'm also using a little ravioli cutter, a pasta cutter, so I get a little crimped edge. It's totally up to you. So I'm gonna trim that to this dimension. So remember I said it was forgiving. I just roll it back into a ball. No harm, no foul. It's all good. I've got my oven set at 350. It's gonna be a still oven because I don't want it to expand too much and cook too quickly. And then I'm taking a fork and I'm gonna pierce little holes in it to make that traditional ice cream sandwich look. So I'm gonna repeat with the other half of the dough. Remember, this was just the little bits that I gathered up, and I don't wanna flour this because it's gonna become too dry. 350, 10 to 11 minutes. That's a perfectly baked cookie for the ice cream sandwich. So you see how they're a little bit flexible still? That's key. Once the cookies have cooled, what I'm doing here is we're gonna make 3 sandwiches at a time, working with 6 cookies, so 3 bottoms and 3 tops. So remember at the beginning I said I'm buying ice cream, so really that's the only part we didn't make from scratch. What I did, I'm a bit of an ice cream snob. I'm gonna say it right off the bat. You could buy a big slab of square in a box ice cream and cut it. That would be the easiest thing, but I didn't want to do that. I bought a good quality ice cream, and what I do is put it in the fridge for about an hour. It'll soften just enough so you could scoop it out, and then I line this loaf pan with some parchment paper, and guess what? You get a smooth. This has been now in the freezer for another 2 hours while I've been baking these. And you get a smooth piece of ice cream that happens to be exactly the size I wanted. So how did that all work out miraculously? Well, I reverse engineered it. So this is what I was saying in terms of size. I know I can work with 3 cookies at a time here, and I just happened to look through my whatever I have, and I have this loaf pan, so that's how I adjusted the size of my cookies, so I didn't have to go out and buy a specific container. Now that this is nice and firm, because you want it to be frozen, I'm gonna lay that over those 3 cookies, and they've already been cut, but they're gonna be nestled side by side, so it'll be easier to actually create those 3 sandwiches. Are you ready? And then remove the top. That's how you get those smooth edges. Then I'm gonna lay down 1 top, 2 tops, 3 tops. You getting it? Now just a couple of minutes that these are gonna sit at room temperature, the ice cream will soften a bit and I can press down just to get it all nestled snugly. I don't wanna press too hard because I'm gonna crack them after I did all that work. Now what I do is I take a knife, run it through some hot water, and I'm gonna cut straight through those. Just so we get the official break. But remember, the cookie's already broken, so you just want to cut through the ice cream, essentially. Then we pull it apart. Now you gotta move quickly. You might be tempted to wanna just pop one of these in your mouth and say, this is great. You could, but they're not gonna hold together well. So ideally, you wanna make these the day before. And I found this fantastic little decorative parchment paper. Look how cute these are. So they look like they're store-bought, only homemade. Doesn't get any better than that. Just barely. After at least 4 hours in the freezer, I get to taste one for you. So look at the texture. You see how that cookie just breaks with the ice cream? So the whole point of this is you get that perfect texture in the cookie that when it freezes with the ice cream, it can break very gently in your mouth. That worked out so amazing. And you've got to have the right ratio of cookie to ice cream. So this is my take. You can certainly customize this to however you want it, whatever flavor of ice cream you want. Thanks for taking this little nostalgic trip with me to making homemade ice cream sandwiches, and I think you're gonna love these. Thank you for joining me on this helping of my favorite foods. Be sure to subscribe, click, say hi, thumbs up, do whatever you gotta do to help me grow this channel. See you next time for another helping of my favorite foods.